Now, here in South Korea, I just want to let you know that one of the trending terms is you're born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Now, is there a concept similar to that or, anything similar to that in the North as well?
Oh, there is no exact similar concept in North Korea, but North Korea still maintains a class system like you see what happened in the old feudal Joseon society.
So different classes and you're born into that system?
Of course, yes.
So I think that's an interesting idea, kind of like India's caste system?
Yes, very similar with India caste system, but I think it is more serious and also a very hidden system.
Right, so I think it's a perfect topic for the day, so why don't we delve into this further?
Okay.
Let's do that. Okay. Right, so very interesting to learn that there are different classes that you're born into in North Korea, and according to that, your life would basically change forever.
Basically, people think that North Korea is a communist society, and communist ideology itself opposes the private ownership of the means of production and also the class system as well. But North Korea is a society where the class system still maintains. Kim Il-sung established, the class system. North Korean citizens are divided into three classes. The first one is core class, and second one is a wavering class, and then third one is hostile. And how they are divided into three, for instance, the people and the descendants of the people who fought against Japanese colonialists and also who fought against South Korea and US forces during Korean War are in category of core class, and they dominate around 20 to 25% of North Korean population. And after this, the core class, there is a wavering class and hostile class. And hostile class are the people or descendants of the people who collaborated with Japanese rule or who collaborated with American or South Korean forces during the Korean War, or even the descendants who defected to South Korea during the Korean War. The wavering class dominates 55% of North Korean society, while the hostile, the class occupies around 20 to 25% of North Korean society.
So what does it mean, wavering class? What does that mean?
Wavering class is a class which can be sided with North Korean regime or can be easily sided with a South Korean, government if there is another war or if there is any contingency in North Korean system.
So it's actually very interesting because, the Korean War has been at a halt, right, for 6-7 decades, but still North Korea bases its class system, which is basically unchangeable for life, based on the scenario of a war.
These classes are assigned to people at birth. Yes, so, and it has a lot of, the bearing on your job and your education and even, on your marriage. The people of core class, rarely marry with the people of wavering or even, the hostile, class. If you are in hostile class, you are not given the same opportunity, you see, with the core class. Virtually, literally, the people of hostile class are not given the opportunity for university education in North Korea. And as far as I am concerned, of course, I was not born in elite group. When I was born, my father was a lecturer in Pyongyang University of Architectures, and my mother was a school teacher of primary school. But I was born in core class. So I had a hope that if I work hard, then I can upgrade, my status into elite group, So the people of elite group are selected, from the
core class.
core class, yes.
And there's absolutely no hope of jumping classes.
No. And this class system is main enabler of preserving rule and system. People of hostile or wavering class are the main labor force input. So crushing this kind of, the class system in North Korea could endanger the Kim Jong-un regime.
Right, so definitely there's the core class and the wavering class and the hostile class, but then again there is the Kim family, which is considered the royal family of North Korea.
Yes.
And obviously I'm sure that there's a huge gap between the royal family and the core class even.
Yes.
Right?
Now North Korean society is nothing but a kind of, a slavery society where all the national, the resources are only served for the prosperity of Kim family.
So you've had your share of, encountering with the royal family. I know for one, Kim Jong-chul, who's the elder brother of Kim Jong-un, the current leader of North Korea, actually came to London to attend or to enjoy a concert by Eric Clapton, and you accompanied him, yeah?
Yes, I spent the couple of months in preparing his trip to London, and before Kim Jong-un assigned me to do that preparation, Kim Jong-un, the investigated thoroughly my, the loyalty and commitment, to the regime, and finally he decided to let me prepare of Kim Jong-chul's visit. And to my impression, Kim Jong-chul at that time was not interested in anything except, the music. He was just fan of Eric Clapton, and Kim Jong-chul himself was a very good guitarist. I learned. I took him to music instruments streets in London, which is called Denmark Street, and he visited many guitar shops, and Kim Jong-chul even played guitar by himself. And even shop assistant was surprised at the level of his playing and asked him, whether he had any album or yes. So I took Kim Jong-chul to expensive restaurants, museums and sightseeing, the places, but he was not interested at all in anything except music. And in Royal Albert Hall, where he watched Eric Clapton's performance twice, from time to time he burst into tears and shouts when the play of Eric Clapton, reached the climax. And I learned that, from time to time, there was a communication between Kim Jong-chul and Kim Jong-un, and I learned that Kim Jong-un loved his brother very much. They care each other.
What were they like? What was Kim Jong-chul like? Is he the same as how they are portrayed in the media, or are they different?
He was a very polite man, Korean language is different from the other languages because we have several level of, the
Honorifics.
courtesy language. It's a language with courtesy, and the Kim Jong-chul always used the language with courtesy to me, He tried to be polite to me, so he looked quite normal to my impression.
Now, speaking of the core class and the privileged in North Korea, what kind of benefits or preferential treatment do they receive over other classes?
Yes, the first is the opportunity for good education. If you want to go to universities, of course, your marks of a primary and high school are always very important, but before that, the political criteria is a main factor in selection process. So best universities are only opened for the children of core class. And second thing is that the place where you are living would be dependent which class you are belonging to. Most of the core class live in Pyongyang, and some of the core class who are living in the countryside or outside of Pyongyang, they still are the leading members of the certain area. If you are the descendants of the elite, the group like partisan guerrilla, family, then 3 generations of partisan guerrillas, are privileged to go to the first-class hospital free of charge.
Free of charge.
Yes.
So I wanted to learn about your family. What about you and your wife's family?
Oh,
obviously, you guys in the core class, right?
Yes, that's right. The story was very interesting. During Korean War, my grandfather sided with a North Korean regime. When North Korean army, retreated from the military demarcation line towards North Korea-Chinese border, my grandfather followed the North Korean army and sided with North Korean regime. And that background put, my family into the core class, but my wife's family was different because the grandfather of my wife was one of the founding members of Kim Il-sung anti-Japanese guerrilla unit. And grandmother of my wife is also the member of Kim Il-sung's anti-Japanese guerrilla unit. Even Kim Il-sung wrote a long story in his, biography, which is called Reminiscence with the Centuries, about the family of my wife's,
Wow.
Yeah. So, as I've told you, there is really a rare case of intermarriage between core class or the hostile class or wavering class. But, my case of marriage is the marriage, between core class. So it was possible.
Right. So how did you meet?
Some of brilliant and talented children from core class can go to language schools, and
Yes.
there is a school which is called Pyongyang Foreign Language School, where I attend and where my wife attend as well. My wife, it was 6 years, the 6 years grade of middle school, and my wife was 4th grade, the younger in the school, so we attended the same school. And my 2 sons also attended, this Pyongyang, the School of Foreign Languages. So all the members of my family went to the same foreign language high school.
There's also I hear that there is a scientist street, and that's allocated to those who are basically bright and the brilliant in the science field.
In order to consolidate his power, Kim Jong-un constructed and did a lot of showcase the buildings like the Mirae scientist streets, and he gave these the houses free of charge to scientists and teachers. But on the meanwhile, the Kim Jong-un's the resource of finance is quite limited. So in order to do that kind of construction, he had to stop the infrastructure constructions outside of Pyongyang city for 5 years.
So those descendants of the partisan guerrillas, or those descendants of those who sided with North Korea during the many wars, they're obviously the core class and the elite class, and they're the traditional elite class. But one of the interesting factors that North Korea experts have been pointing to is a rise of a new class, so nouveau riche, they call it, and they are the newly emerged rich class, I suppose, and I think North Koreans call them the money masters. And this kind of a phenomenon is just very recent, right?
Oh, I think that's a little bit a wrong perception. Some people now are focusing too much on those new emerging middle class in North Korean society. They are called like donju in Korean language, which means the people with a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But most of these donjus, the rich people, are actually the descendants of core class.
Oh.
Yes, they are the people either of the present high-ranking officials or the descendants of high-ranking officials. So actually, even those the recent, the rich people, are actually one part of core class. So I cannot interpret donju or the recent middle class with money as a kind of new class. They are just one part of the core class. How can they make a lot of money inside a North Korean system? Because they have special privileges of import or export of the North Korean products. Mm-hmm. And these, the rights of a privilege of trade are given by the party or the government, So that's why even those new emerging, the rich people are coming from core class.
Right, so these nouveau riche, or the money masters, if you will, they've accumulated wealth through imports and exports, and that's a permission that you need to get from the party officials and whatnot. In return, is there bribery?
Yes, of course. In order to keep on their position, they have to, they bribe important, the people or the people in network of, the surveillance or, the secret, the police. So that's why they have a very strong connection inside this system.
North Korean leader, so Kim Jong-un, basically, from a North Korean leader's perspective, these kind of illegal trade or whatnot is not to be condoned in North Korea. But it looks like Kim Jong-un kind of lets them do whatever that they need to do in order to, I suppose, accumulate wealth. And there seems to be a kind of a very interesting symbiosis between the Kim Jong-un regime, the leadership, and these people.
Kim Jong-un has no any easy way to control or to stamp out these new rich, because if Kim Jong-un just stamp out these new rich middle class, from emerging, then Kim Jong-un cannot do even the trade with China. For instance, the trade with China are done in a lot of the smuggling ways. These money masters pay the workers to produce, and they are the one who organize the trading of coal to China, and they also submit some of their profits to Kim Jong-un regime, so that Kim Jong-un regime can pour these monies to the nuclear development and the other showcase construction. So there is a kind of the dependency between Kim Jong-un and these money master class.
So North Korea is at this point pretty corrupt, I would say.
Of course, North Korean society, the total society is corrupted, and in economic terms, North Korea is developing to a kind of primitive capitalist society.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Also, one of the stories that we've been hearing from the outside world is that there is an area in Pyongyang called, and we've nicknamed it Pyonghatan,
Yes.
after Manhattan.
Yes.
And it's where all the luxury shops and these very high-end apartments and streets and everything exist, and that area is in fact enjoyed by these nouveau riche.
The disparity between rich and poor is so great. In North Korea, if you want to survive, you should have at least $3 or $5 a day, but even this $3 to $5 US dollar is regarded quite large amount of money to normal citizens. But the rich people, spend more than 10,000 US dollars for their children's wedding, and in North Korea, those foreign currency restaurants are always full of, rich people or the children of rich people. The civil servants who are working in government institutions are the most, poorly paid ones in North Korean system. For instance, my monthly salary was only 2,900 North Korean won, and $1 US is around these days 8,500 won. So
Oh my goodness.
yes, so my monthly salary even less than even $1 US. So
Right.
how can I survive? How can people with this monthly salary can survive? So everyone is corrupted. Everyone should use all his means, to take care of his, the living.
So I wonder if these elite class or the nouveau riche class or whatnot enjoys such preferential treatment and enjoys such a, what seems to be a good life in Pyongyang in North Korea, why are we seeing such an increase, an upsurge of defections of the elite class these days?
Yes, because as a human being, the economic life is not all you wished or dreamed of. Because the more you are leading a better life, then the more freedom and the more improved life you are looking for.
Right, so quality of life over mere survival, and I think that's the case for you as well.
Yes.
So it seems like as times change, as the world changes with the advent of the internet and the likes, and perhaps one day it will be just not enough for Kim Jong-un to just resort to the reign of terror.
Yes, there are around 2,000 or 3,000 young North Koreans who are studying abroad with their parents, and they are the frequent user of internet, They learned everything about Kim Jong-un. They heard all those stories and read, enough, about the negative aspects of North Korea. So I think, at this moment, Kim Jong-un's policy of terror seems working, but in the long run, I'm absolutely sure that the North Korean system would definitely collapse.
Right, and his days are limited.
of course, his days are numbered. Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed our session once again. Very insightful, and thank you so much again for today.
Okay, thank you very much, and you've done a very good job.
Thank you.